Welcome to GPP Master Elite and Value Week 5. Cruising along into this NFL season. I cannot believe we are almost a third of the way through the regular season. Last week, Week 4, was not Week 3. Week 3, we just had, as we said, an incredible week with this video. We cashed. We were a top 150, top 1,000, multiple millionaire maker lineups. Last week, just didn't put it all together. Had a couple nice picks. Had the Deshaun Watson flag, which was phenomenal. Obviously rode Brady. Kind of missed on Palmer and Bortles. We did real well at running back. You know, we had Fournette, who was pretty solid. We had Cook, who was on his way to being solid before the injury. But as we said, if you have an injury like the one that happened to Cook, you just have to move on and play the next week. Sometimes that will be a deal breaker. Even though Gurley, we said, would be chalk, he was off the charts good again for the fourth week in a row, and we really picked Ellington out, and he just had a strong week. We'll be back to him again, talking about him this week. And most importantly, we set to fade Mixon for Cincinnati, who just had immense struggles going. Giovanni Bernard again had the big play in that game. So again, Mixon was going to be the chalk, as we said, and had a tough matchup, as we said, and we faded him. At wide receiver, we had the Patriots guys kind of nailed with Hogan and Amendola, missed on Arizona. Tight end, kind of missed on Ebron, but we had Brait. And on defense, we did a pretty good job with the Bengals, but 8 points, but the Cowboys kind of shit the bed, so that one didn't work out very well. But here we are, in it to win it, Week 5. Feeling good about this week. It's a short slate. There's bye weeks. There's no Sunday night game. There's no Monday night game. There's no Thursday night game. So we're talking about an 11-game slate. Which brings us to the Week 5 quarterbacks. We're going to be focusing on Millionaire Maker on DraftKings, $20, million the first place, or the play action for $3, $100K to first place. Again, follow our GPP commandments. You have to be able to play 20 to 30 lineups. So if you can't afford in your budget 20 to 30 Millionaire Maker lineups at $20, play the $3 130 times for 90. Okay, because when you get that huge 222, 225 score, you're going to win yourself a tournament, or you're going to win big money, and it all it takes is one to win, as we know, on GPP Master. So this week, again, I'm going to be playing 12 quarterbacks out of the possible 22 available, going the diversity route again. Just the way the matchups are, and some of the good games are not on the slate due to the night games and the Patriots-Tampa game Thursday night. The high-end quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3 are Rodgers, Wilson, and Prescott, both in salary and likely performance. But other than that, Rodgers, who's always consistent in the 20s on DraftKings, the other guys are kind of same thing, consistent but not a massive ceiling. So we're going to take some risks at quarterback and diversify. 12 quarterbacks for me this week. I'm going to highlight a few of them here. So I will be playing Rodgers, Dak, and Wilson with one lineup, but they range from 8,100 to Rodgers down to 6,800 for Dak, with Wilson in the middle. You got to be careful with Wilson. He struggles against the Rams. Everybody's on him. He had a great week last week. The Rams have the 6-pass defense. They're a hot team, and he just has struggled against the Rams the last couple of years. And Dak is going to be chalk, hands down. Dak Prescott will be chalk city this week. And, this has the potential to be a Zeke game, which we'll come back to. So, again, I'm not sure the ceiling on Dak. He doesn't throw deep downfield. He manages the game. So we'll come back to that. One of the guys I am very, very focused on this week is Carson Wentz. Matthew Stafford put up 28 points against Arizona week 1 or week 2. Wentz is $6,600. He had 2 weeks of 25 double-digit kind of mid-20 points on DraftKings weeks 1 and 2. Okay, somehow, and I'm not exactly sure, but Alshon Jeffrey at a wide receiver 1, Arizona is 32nd against that, which doesn't totally add up to me because they have Patrick Peterson, but statistically that's where they are. So this is a sneaky play for Wentz. This could be a shootout kind of game at Philly, and I like Wentz a lot. I'm probably, in a rare move here, not going to focus on stacking him like we usually do. I will probably stack him with Jeffrey just to do it based on the statistic we just talked about. But I like Wentz standalone here. Let him diversify it, throw it around, put up 3-4 touchdowns, and it could be a really good day there. So Ben Roethlisberger, we know Ben is terrible on the road, great at home. Unfortunately, home this week means Jacksonville. which is the #1 pass defense in the NFL with 2 shutdown corners, and the 32nd ranked running defense, which says Le'Veon's going to get 40 touches. Got to own him. 90, whatever, $100 to $800 I think he's at. I will have one lineup with Ben and Antonio because Antonio is matchup proof. They're at home, and I don't think Jacksonville's run defense is as bad as the statistics tell you, and I don't think their pass defense is as good as the statistics tell you. And I think it's a sneaky play at 6,400 to have one lineup with Ben and Antonio. Eli Manning. You may not realize this on the 0-4 Giants, but Eli's put up 27 DraftKings points 2 weeks in a row. He is hot. You got to keep an eye on OBJ in this one because we don't know what his health is, although he did practice. But Eli's another guy I would go at $6,100 with no stack. This game could also turn into a high-scoring game, and Eli quietly is throwing the ball all over the field at a fast pace and could put up 3 touchdowns easily. Got a stud tight end in the rookie Ingram. Shepard is underrated. They get this new running back who can catch the ball, and of course Beckham. So we always come up in here and say we've got to throw a few quarterback flyers out there. We've done very well. Week 2, we hit Travis Simeon out of the park. Week 3, the big winning week for us, we hit Jacoby Brissett, T.Y. Hilton out of the park. Last week, despite not being as good a week, we hit Deshaun Watson out of the park. So this week, I'm going to go back to the well, one lineup on Brissett with Hilton. Okay, that's a 22.8 total. San Fran is 30th against the pass. I just have a look. Jacoby can run. He can extend plays. He has a strong arm, and Ty is an absolute stud. He just is. So I think you have to have one more back to the well for me anyway. Exposure against San Francisco in the Dome, and I think you could stack that game. I think you go Ty, Brissett, Garcon. Or I actually think you go the other way around against Indy's 18th pass D and go Hoyer, T.Y. Garcon. And then here comes my crazy one. You heard it here on GPP Elite and Value. Once a year, Joe Flacco puts up like 5 or 6 or 7 touchdowns in a game. He has been abysmal. The Ravens' offense has been the worst in the NFL, abysmal. Just awful. But Flacco is going into Oakland without Derek Carr on the other side. Oakland's pass defense is middle of the pack, to actually worse. 28th against the pass, 32nd against wide receiver 1, okay? 22nd against wide receiver 2, 24th against wide receiver 3. So bottom line, Oakland's pass defense just is not very good. And Flacco does 1 a year. So Jeremy Maclin and Flacco, a very sneak play here. Nobody's going to own it. Nobody. And if it works, and if I'm right, you're winning at GPP because you can actually fit Flacco, Maclin, Zeke, Gurley, and maybe even Le'Veon in there. Moving on to running back. I'm playing, this is easy, playing 6 running backs this week. That's it. I will have some exposure to Le'Veon because they're 32nd against the run. He's going to touch the ball 35 to 40 times, as we said. But he's $9,500, so a lot of risk there. I don't think Jacksonville's running defense is as bad as we think, and he will be very chalky against that statistical run defense. Todd Gurley, 8,000. He will be lower owned, so he's sneaky because everyone thinks Seattle, dangerous, tough game. It is a tough game, and it is a tough defense, but Seattle has continued to be weak. 30th against the run, probably an aberration, but Gurley has just been unstoppable. He's catching, he's running, he's scoring through the air, and at $8,000, that's $1,500 off Bell and $8,800 off Zeke. And then there's Zeke. I like Zeke. I think he's sneaky because everyone's going to be on Dak and Dez at $8,800 versus a pretty crappy 22nd ranked Green Bay running defense. Green Bay is vulnerable on the ground. The other 3 backs, so Jay Ajayi has been the biggest disappointment in all of fantasy, but he's $6,600 versus Tennessee's 18th pass defense. I'm a little worried that they're pulling him off the field on 3rd down, but if the Dolphins want to win a game, they got to ride Jay Ajayi's back here, and I don't think he's going to be highly owned at all because I think there will be receivers from Miami owned. People will play Cutler, so Jay Ajayi will have some exposure to him. And then the 2 kind of value plays, I'm going back to the well on Andre Ellington. Andre Ellington had 9 receptions. That is 9 DraftKings points last week. Never mind that he's explosive when he catches it. Never mind he can break big plays. Never mind that they're playing a team that is 20th against the run, okay, the Eagles, and 29th against the running back coming out of the backfield.
So back to the well on Ellington. And Duke Johnson, 21 and 27 DraftKings points the last 2 weeks, $4,900. He's a running back. He's a receiver. He lines up everywhere. He is got the ball on the 1-yard line last week instead of Isaiah Crowell. So those are my 6 backs. Going on the wide receiver, at the stack, we are going to go with Rodgers, with Cobb, probably number 1. 22nd against wide receiver 2 is a lot of money saved there off of Jordy. Might do one with Jordy because it's Jordy. And then keep an eye on Devontae Adams. I'd be shocked if he plays this week. I mean, they say he might. But, man, after that injury, you would think they'll give him 1 week off. But if they do, Geronimo Allison at $4,400 is a value play. When he comes in and plays that third wide receiver spot for one of the 3 starters, they tend to see a lot of targets. He's a big play kind of guy, and it's Aaron Rodgers throwing to him in a game that has the highest total of the week. So you want to keep an eye on that. Everybody's going to stack Dak with Dez. Dez is having a hard time getting downfield. Look, he's always good for a 3-touchdown game, and this could be it. But Zeke is catching the ball, so I think you could take Dak and play off everyone with Dez and stack him with Zeke. And even Terrence Williams at wide receiver 2 spot, where Green Bay is ranked 27th against wide receiver 2. Williams is a dirt cheap play there. And then I like Wilson with Baldwin. Doug Baldwin's going to have a massive game. It's just a matter of when. And, you want to be there when he does. So if you're going to do that. As I said, Ben with Antonio Brown 1 time. Brissett with T.Y. 1 time. Hoyer with Garcon. Flacco with Macklin. Those are the stacks. And then I like a lot of these guys. Again, I like Baldwin and standalone. I like Golden Tate a lot. Standalone. I actually think Stafford could have a big game. I think Carolina's defense is overrated against the pass. Carolina is due for a letdown after their Patriots win, and their offense is not as good as the horrible Patriots defense made them look. I love T.Y. Hilton in all formats, even without the stack, using him at 6,100. And I think you can, again, same with Randall Cobb. And then Jermaine Kearse has had a quiet couple weeks. Josh McCown going back to Cleveland with the Jets against a pretty lousy Cleveland pass defense, 32nd or 31st against the wide receiver 1, which is Kearse. So I think you can get some value out of Kearse. Tight end, very simple this week. Evan Ingram at 4,000 will be the chalk. 32nd against tight ends. He is a stud. He's a playmaker. Eli's looking his way. He's breaking rookie records, but he will be very, very highly owned. So I think you can come off that a little bit and go with Jared Cook at $3,900, $100 less, because the Ravens are 32nd against tight end to date, and E.J. Manuel now playing quarterback. If you watch what happened when he came in after Carr got hurt, who did he target? Cooks. That's who he targeted. They'll play it safe. So I think Jared Cook is part of this game plan, Jared Cook, and a good play. And then kind of the wild card out there is Julius Thomas. He is getting targets in the red zone. He hasn't done it. Everybody's going to be on Landry and Parker. Cutler should be able to throw a will in that game, statistically. And Julius Thomas, they're 22nd against the tight end defensively. So Julius Thomas still part of the game plan over there. And again, worth a flyer, but third to Ingram and Cook. On defense, only playing 3. Going to play the Lions at 3,200. Carolina, again, in for a letdown game. Offense is not nearly as good as it looked against the Patriots. And the Lions have scored double-digit DraftKings points each week of the season, and they're at home. So statistically, they're 4 for 4 on double-digit points on defense. You can't buy that at 3,200. I will stack the Dolphins against Jay Ajayi, especially if Mariota is not playing in this game. If Matt Castle is a quarterback, I like the Dolphins defense in a Jay Ajayi Dolphins stack at 2,700. Again, if no Mariota only. And then, even though I like Jared Cook, I think the Ravens defense, again, I think the Ravens are going to show up for this game against the Raiders. E.J. Manuel is a mistake waiting to happen. $2,900, so I like the Ravens against the Raiders. Those are the 3 defenses. Going to be a good week. It's a tough week with the short slate in the 11 games, but there are some value opportunities in there, and this is a week that I think if you follow here, you can win some pretty big money.